What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit, for episode 97 for the Monday Night Raw review. Yes, I said 97. We'll talk about why in just a little bit. Before I do that, let's go into the plugs here, shall we? You can find this podcast on social media. If you want to see how long Twitter is going to be around, Twitter at Misfit Podcast TV, on Instagram and Threads at Misfit Wrestling Pod. You can find this video version of this podcast on youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast and the other audio outlets, Stitcher, Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and iHeartRadio, and plus Amazon Music. Now, I mentioned the 97 thing. Well, because this Saturday is going to be the 100th episode of this podcast. This podcast started back on, I believe it was September the 4th. I believe it was September the 4th. It was either September the 4th or September the 5th, 2022. Clash at the Castle. When the takeover of Triple H happened while Vince McMahon was actually out of the company before he forced his way back into the company. This should be a lot of fun to go through. I don't know what we're going to do for that show. I might do a live review. I don't know. I might do a live watch along just to celebrate 100 episodes. Who knows? I'll let you guys know Wednesday because I got to get a web camera now because I don't have one. I had one. The problem with that is the camera broke, and it's also got short in the cord, and the actual USB thing is bent. So I got to buy me a new one. But you still got me here. I'm very excited. First of all, I never thought I'd get to 100 episodes, let alone 20. The fact that I even got the 20 through 20 episodes is amazing. But the fact that I'm going to be able to do 100 episodes coming up on Saturday night, it's insane. It's a great feat. I'm very pleased that you guys are enjoying the show. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I mean, the subscriber count now is like at 100 and something here. I don't even know what the subscriber count is right now. 121 subscribers, obviously. Hopefully we get that stuff up bigly here. But yesterday we uploaded on Spotify and the other audio outlets the Pile Driver Pulse episode number 2 on there, where we talked big things on there. We talked about the rumors of Kota Ibushi and CM Punk for Blood and Guts. We talked about the tease of Rina leaving Oedo Tai, possibly. Julia winning the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. We got the reviews of SmackDown and Dynamite going on there. We also talked about Utami Hayashishita she's currently in the United States. She wrestled this past weekend at GCW and JCW. She wrestled Billy Stark in a great fucking match. By the way, I encourage you guys to watch that. And then she I forgot who else she wrestled, but it was a really good match, which is up on GCW's YouTube channel. The second match she did. She'll be wrestling this coming weekend at the Hammerstein Ballroom for a show for GCW. I don't know what that show is going to be before she heads back to Japan for the 5-star Grand Prix. News that I'm going to go over maybe on Wednesday. I don't know. News I might actually try to go through on Sunday. There's news I want to talk about on Sunday, so I'm going to talk about it. But we have a women's promotion being started up here in the United States. New York City, New York is going to be doing a Joshi-based promotion in over there in New York. That's going to be headed by former members of Bushiroad, and they got Bull Nakano on board rather. So we're going to talk about that hopefully on Sunday. We're going to talk about some other things as well. And we're going to talk about the updates on Bray Wyatt, Johnny Gargano, which I actually will talk about Johnny Gargano in this episode here today for the Monday Night Raw, because it kind of bleeds into one of the matches that happened on the show, but I will talk about Bray Wyatt and his status coming up on Sunday on the podcast. I'm going to leave that out for there. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Because we had a few things happen on the show here. We've seen actually a really fun no disqualification match between Tommaso Ciampa and The Miz. Which we'll talk about the finish of that because there is some leeway to that here. Becky Lynch was able to compete on tonight's show. She was originally not medically cleared. She was trying to get that cleared, and she did eventually get cleared to compete on the show tonight. Seen more attention sort of for the Judgment Day. But let's talk about the Judgment Day here because the show opened with Finn Balor coming out here. They're in Buffalo, in New York, by the way. Balor comes out and says that the way things went down for him in his World Heavyweight Championship match against Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank hadn't sat well with him. He says that the reason he's still at odds with Seth Rollins is because of Damian Priest. And before Balor can finish, Judgment Day's music hits. Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio come out. Rhea tells Balor that his issues with Priest should be dealt with backstage instead of in front of the world. Balor says that Priest ruined his opportunity to become the world champion, and Rhea and Balor began arguing back and forth of how things should be handled in the ring. Then he becomes angry, Balor does, and leaves. Rhea says the only business that the WWE Universe needs to be concerned with is that the Judgment Day still runs Raw. She says that anyone who has an issue with that, they can come to the ring and air out their grievances before confidently saying that Dominic Mysterio is going to beat Seth Rollins a little bit later on tonight because they had a match set for Rollins to face Dominic. This was kind of funny here. So Rollins comes out. Well, Dominic's trying to speak on the microphone, but Rollins comes out here with a plate of buffalo wings because they're in Buffalo, New York. And Dominic calls for his music to become, Rollins' music rather. He says that he will not be disrespected by Rollins. Rollins tells him that no one came to hear him run his mouth, which is true because every time he goes, anywhere he goes and he tries to speak, he's booed out of the building, which I love. He says, Rollins says he's here to watch. He says everyone's here to watch the Judgment Day to implode, and Dominic says the only thing that will implode is Rollins' head. And Rollins laughs and goes to the back. That was the Buffalo Wings thing was actually kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie here. Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle make their way to the ring for their tag team match against Imperium with Gunther in their corner here. But before that, they are backstage. Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic walk in. Damian Priest is there. Rhea and Dominic walk in, and Priest says that went exactly how he thought it would. Rhea tells Priest to solve things with Balor, and Priest says he'll talk to him again. Then they get this match here. Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre end up getting the win with Matt Riddle putting the ankle lock on Kaiser. McIntyre hits the Claymore kick onto Vinci. After the match, Gunther chews out Giovanni Vinci on his way back, and it seems like they're I hope not, but it seems like they're teasing Vinci being thrown out of Judgment Day, Imperium. I hope that's not the case. Just add somebody else. We don't need another team breaking up here. The only faction that should be breaking up at this very moment in this time is Damage and Control, and that's happening on SmackDown. So no other teams right now should be breaking up on Raw. We go backstage to the Judgment Day again because this is kind of funny. So I went to go get some food for dinner. Before I left, Judgment Day was talking right backstage with Priest. I come back. The Judgment Day are still on the television. So I thought this entire time they were doing this whole long ass segment, but no, that's not what happened. I just thought that was funny. Priest and Balor are talking to each other, but Rhea puts an end. They're arguing with each other here. Rhea puts an end to it and tells him to talk nice. Priest explains that he never intended to cost Balor the World Heavyweight Championship, or the match rather, at Money in the Bank. And then says that they can go back to the way that things were between Judgment Day. Balor agrees, but under one condition: he gets his hands on Seth Rollins first, and the title first. Priest agrees. The two seemingly made up rather. Priest says things are covered either way, and holds up his Money in the Bank briefcase before heading out to with Rhea and Dominic. Now, which is interesting here, when that happened, Balor looked a little bit annoyed with that comment, and I'll go over why when I go at the end of the show, because I think I've mapped out the show for SummerSlam, the card for SummerSlam, because one match was technically made official tonight. It was the one challenge for SummerSlam was already made official tonight. Well, there's two challenges already made. We'll talk about one that happened tonight in just a little bit. But they recap the Tribal Chief thing with Roman Reigns and the Usos and the Bloodline from SmackDown. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are backstage with Kathy Kelly, which for some reason I thought Kathy Kelly was moved to SmackDown. I guess not. She asked Owens and Zayn what's next for them and their undisputed tag team championships. While they're unsure, they say that they'll take on any team at any time at any place. Rhea and Dominic walk in and says, "You didn't mention the Judgment Day, like at all." And basically putting out that it's probably going to be the Judgment Day that gets the next shot at the tag team titles, and I'll explain which version of the Judgment Day is going to get the shot at the tag team championships. So there's that. We were supposed to get Rollins and Dominic here, but while Rollins is making his entrance, he's blindsided by Dominic, who is getting beat up 4-on-1 by the Judgment Day to Rollins. Out comes KO and Sammy to make the save. Rollins grabs a chair to hits Dominic with it, and the Judgment Day scatters to the back end. We found out that the main event for tonight's show, which could be Judgment Day taking on Rollins, Zayn, and Owens. So we found that. Next up, we got Ricochet coming to the ring with an unenthusiastic. He has zero charisma on the microphone. I just can't stand Ricochet on the microphone here. Basically, he calls out Logan Paul. Logan Paul makes his way to the ring. Logan Paul calls Ricochet a little boy and says that he's a human highlight reel. Says that he stands by his comments and says that Ricochet's reckless amateur Money in the Bank was a reckless amateur at Money in the Bank, rather. Ricochet says no one wanted to see Logan Paul capture the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is absolutely a factual information right there, and says that he wouldn't mind standing in the center of the ring where he were on preference, whatever that means. Says that he wants to challenge Logan Paul to a match, but now that he's out there, all he wants to do is hurt him. He tells Paul to keep his name out of his mouth. Logan Paul questions what happens if he doesn't do what Ricochet says, and says that he doesn't care about going viral because he's a WWE superstar. He says he has a legendary knockout punch. Well, Ricochet is about replays and clips, which is technically not wrong. Ricochet does that damn flip over the top rope that he did to Velveteen Dream on NXT a few years ago, showing off his skills to Logan Paul. Logan Paul says that was cool for a TikTok, but he isn't a TikToker because he is the moment, and says things won't work out that way or whatever. Logan Paul looks at blindside Ricochet with the right hand, but Ricochet ducks out of the ring and delivers a sliced bread off the ring apron, and that's how that segment ends. So again, it does look like we're getting Ricochet versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam. That match should be very, very good. It's just I don't care about the feud. Like, I know the match is going to deliver. I just don't give a shit about the actual storyline that they're selling. But anyways, Zoey Stark defeated Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, who originally was not scheduled or was not cleared to compete on the show, as Fightful Select put out a thing on here saying Becky Lynch. This is before, like an hour or two before Raw went on the air, saying Becky Lynch is not currently cleared for her match with Zoey Stark tonight, but it's possible, and they did put this out there, but it's possible she's cleared and the match is added back. And that's exactly what happened. This match was not, I mean, this was okay. But Zoey Stark gets the roll up on Lynch for the win after Trish Stratus, catches the referee and distracts the referee and allows Zoey Stark to roll up Becky for the win here. So that's a rare loss for Becky Lynch on Raw. But it puts over Zoey Stark, so here's that. We got the Alpha Academy hosting Maxine Dupri's graduation ceremony. This was actually a lot of fun. This is a very over act, which I love to see that. Chad Gable thanks Buffalo for coming out and says that he, himself and Otis are here to talk about the achievements of the first female graduate of the Alpha Academy, Maxine Dupri. Dupri makes her way to the ring. Gable presents her with a diploma, and Dupri thanks him and says that her first impressions of Gable were not a good one, but he turned out to be a good mentor and a good friend. She credits Gable's training as a reason she won her debut match last week, and thanks Otis for being her twin flame in Rock, which sounds a little bit like what they did with Mandy Rose back in 2019. She thanks the fans for accepting her and helping her become a star. Otis and Gable then put on their Alpha Academy varsity jackets, which looked similar to the Chase U stuff, and presented her with her own. That is Maxine Dupri. The Viking Raiders music hits, but the duo alongside Valhalla appeared. Valhalla attacks Dupri and steals her jacket, and that's how that segment ends. And then we find out next week it's going to be, I almost said Priest. It's going to be Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy in a Viking rules match, whatever that means here. Shayna Baszler destroyed Emma. This was set up after Shayna was doing nothing, and Emma just wanted to get her ass kicked, and that's exactly what happened. Ronda Rousey comes out, she marches down to the ring. They start doing some MMA reversals here, and for some reason they tried to make Ronda Rousey the babyface here. That's clearly not going to happen with the fans. The fans are going to go for Shayna Baszler, and should have kept Shayna as the babyface here, because last week Shayna got probably the most reactions she's ever gotten on the main roster, and she's gotten massive praise for the promo that she cut last week by literally everyone. So, but I'm excited. The feud, I'm enjoying what they're doing so far with the feud itself. And I'm hoping the match doesn't suck at SummerSlam. And I'm hoping that Shayna Baszler beats that ass. Which sounds like, a lot of fun. And hopefully after that, I pray to whatever God exists that Shayna Baszler goes up from here and gets skyrocketed to the main event picture for the Women's Championship on Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes comes down to the ring, asks Buffalo what do they want to talk about. Says that he knows there's millions of people on the other side of the camera, but he's talking about us. That usually I've never heard that phrase be uttered on television before. Asks for their forgiveness for turning his back to the camera because he wants to see everyone in Key Bank Center. Says that there can sometimes feel like an invisible wall between the crowd and the ring, but not for him. he says that things don't feel performative for him because they are real. Cody recalls being asked about his momentum during Money in the Bank press conference and says that the crowd gets louder with each crowd, which is true. Like when they came out here, Cody is still massively over. Despite what they're doing with him right now, he's still massively over. But says his momentum in the ring is a little bit shaky, but there's a mountain standing in front of him and that he has to go through. That he says that mountain is Brock Lesnar. While Brock isn't in Buffalo, crowd booed for that. Everyone has a Lesnar of their own. He says Lesnar is something that it pins on everyone. And for him, it's a 6'3", 6'3" behemoth. He says that he dreams of a rubber match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Says nothing would make him happier than shaking Lesnar's hand in person. He says that if he doesn't shake his hand, he'll finish the chapter of Lesnar. Rhodes or Cody says he will be next line and heads back, and he heads to the back. Next line meaning, look, whether people want to admit it or not, Cody Rhodes is going to be the guy, and is still the guy, the right guy to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Not Jey Uso. It's not going to be Jimmy Uso. It's not going to be Solo Sikoa. It wasn't going to be Sami Zayn. It's Cody Rhodes. That is who they're building. That's who the next star is for this company. That's going to be the next top guy. I'm sorry. As much as I love what they're doing with Jey Uso and the Usos right now, if you're gonna give me if you told me that gave me this entire roster here, and you tell me you pick one guy out here to be your top guy, to be world champion and being the face of your promotion, I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. Jey Uso is not gonna be that guy. I'm sorry, and I just people need to realize that it's gonna be Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania. The two big matches I think it's going to be is Cody and Roman for night 2, and the night 1 is going to end with Gunther and Rollins. That's my prediction for that, but I'll leave it there for that here. Then we got the no disqualification match, Tommaso Ciampa versus The Miz. This was a lot of fun here. So Ciampa pulls out a table from underneath the ring. But Miz kicks him over the announce table desk, tumbling him on top of Kevin Patrick, who apparently is still employed. Miz puts the table back under the ring because the crowd was chanting for "We want tables," and putting the table back on the ring gets boos from the crowd. Before Ciampa catches him with the knee, sends him into the announce desk face first. He cleans off the announce table, then sends Miz crashing into the barricade near the timekeeper's area from the top of the announce table. Ciampa then grabs a chair and a garbage can lid, dumps those into the ring before grabbing the table, sliding it into the ring. Miz catches Ciampa with a knee as he slides back inside, then sends him into the turnbuckle face first. Clifford delivers a couple of kicks, picks up the garbage can and sends to the top rope, but Ciampa hits him with the knee, then fires off some corner shots with the garbage can as a knee pad for aesthetics, or for a good measure, rather. He sets up the table in the corner, in the center of the ring, rather, and Miz is on the top turnbuckle. He gets him with the air raid crash to the table, goes for the pin. Bronson Reed pulls him out of the ring and delivers, runs him over, does the tsunami splash, then which allows Miz to crawl over and pick up the win for this match. I like this match. I thought this was a lot of fun. I didn't really care for the finish, though. If I'm being honest, though, I'm not that upset about it anymore because I realized this was the original plan for The Miz, Ciampa, and Bronson Reed getting involved here. This whole thing was supposed to set up to the return of DIY. And we'll talk about, and I'm going to bring up Johnny Gargano now because I think this is where this is going. It just makes sense for it to be Johnny Gargano that eventually makes the save here for Tommaso Ciampa. So here's what Fightful Select had to say about the former NXT champion. He says, or Fightful says, Johnny Gargano hasn't been seen on TV for quite some time, leading many to speculate his status. Fightful was given an answer. On Monday, there was a report running around that Johnny Gargano was still injured and wouldn't be competing at this year's SummerSlam. While we can't confirm his status for SummerSlam or the status of the original DIY planned angle, we can't confirm that Johnny Gargano is no longer injured and was factored into recent creative plans for WWE. Gargano was backstage at the most recent Raw in Cleveland, Ohio, which is in his hometown, and was originally scheduled to be on the show. However, creative plans were adjusted, and he wasn't used. Gargano has experienced a shoulder injury, has experienced a recurring shoulder injury that has been fine for quite some time. That is the latest on Johnny Gargano, and it does look like they're going to do Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa whenever Johnny Gargano shows back on television to take on The Miz and Bronson Reed. So there was no Shinsuke Nakamura on this show either, which is very interesting to me. So we go to backstage here. Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan are back here. They are interrupted by Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, who is then interrupted by Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley gets in their face and says, if you two ever get into my business again, it's going to be strike 3 and I'm going to kick all of your asses, basically is what she said here. And Chelsea Green said, yeah, 3 strikes, basketball, which fucking hilarious. That came out of left field. I don't know how anybody can laugh here. And they're like, Rhea, right? Rhea looks at her like, who's we? So, setting the stage again for Rhea and Raquel, and possibly, because we found out next week is going to be Raquel and Liv taking on Sonya and Chelsea for the tag team titles. Chelsea and Sonya Deville defeated Casey Catanzaro. I can get used to that name change. Katana Chance and Caden Carter. It was all right here. Chelsea Green manages to pin Katana Chance, putting her foot on the ropes as Deville holds them down for the win. It was just kind of but kudos. But the pairing of Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville is actually fantastic. I'm glad they're. I mean, originally this was supposed to be Chelsea Green and Carmella, but with Carmella out due to pregnancy, Sonya Deville was put right in that spot, and you know what? I'm fine with it because I'm enjoying what they're doing here. Main event time. We have the Judgment Day defeating Rollins, Owens, and Sami Zayn. Of course, Finn Balor pins Sami Zayn after a coup de grace hit, who was helped by preceding the South of Heaven. So here's how this match is basically, unraveled here. At one point, Priest tags in, delivers a few clotheslines, then looks for a South of Heaven on Seth Rollins. Rollins escapes, lands a pedigree, goes for the pin. Balor breaks up the fall, and starts raining down some right hands. He calls in for Priest to tag him in. He does. Balor lands a sling blade, but Rollins plants him face first. Dominic tags in, hits a frog splash. Terrible. His frog splashes are fucking terrible. Balor tags back in and executes a sling blade on Rollins. And Zayn, who gets the hot tag and a massive pop there, tags in, sends to the top rope, delivers a high crossbody, goes for the pin, but Balor kicks out. Balor delivers a missile drop kick to Sami Zayn into the corner. Ascends to the top rope, delivers a coup de grace, but Sami was able to avoid it. Hits a Blue Thunder Bomb, then follows up with an exploder suplex. Rhea tries to trip Sami because Sami was getting ready to go for the Helluva Kick. It distracts the referee, allowing, like I said, Priest to hit the South of Heaven, and then Balor delivers the coup de grace for the win. After the match, the Balor and Priest have this weird, intense stare down here, and then they hug it out at the end of the show, and that with Judgment Day standing tall, and that is how Raw went off the air. So excellent main event. I thought it was a very good main event. More, Raw. Look, you got Rollins, Balor, Owens, Zayn, and Priest in the match. You're bound to have a very good main event and also Dominic is there too. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Next week, here's what we got next week. Brock Lesnar is going to return to answer a Cody Rhodes' challenge for SummerSlam. Chelsea Green will challenge Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville will challenge Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the tag team titles. Maxine Dupree's thing with the Viking Rules match between Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders are going to happen. I believe there was something else that was announced with the show. Oh, and Matt Riddle, who Buzz Backstage said he will get a non-title match with Gunther with Imperium barred from ringside because Drew McIntyre will not be on Raw next week. So here is what SummerSlam looks like as of right now. So we have the two matches that are basically confirmed, which is Jey Uso and Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes with a possible stipulation, which is still rumored to be a Texas bull rope match. It probably won't be that, but that's the rumored match right there. And then the rumored matches here. Another one that we can pretty much confirmed at this point is going to be happening. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Championship. Looks like it's going to be doing that again. Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship against Raquel Rodriguez. Asuka defending the WWE Championship on SmackDown against Charlotte and Bianca. I personally, and I said this on the Pile Driver Pulse last night, or yesterday on the podcast. I said, add Bayley to the match. Have Bayley win the title and have Io cash in on Bayley and have her win the title. That way, I wouldn't be against that. And it also would turn Io into a babyface. Who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do there? And also, based on this, the Judgment Day is going to challenge the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag team titles. It's probably going to be Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. Gunther will take on Drew McIntyre for the IC title. Edge is going to have some type of match on the show. They're not going to keep Edge off of SummerSlam. I don't know what they're going to have him wrestle. Maybe Bray Wyatt. Maybe LA Knight. Maybe they'll have Edge wrestle LA Knight. Who knows? But I think they're going to do Theory and Sheamus for the United States Championship. So that's the potential. That's what I think is going to be the card for SummerSlam. I would love to see DIY versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but they're not doing that obviously at the moment. I don't think that was ever the plan, in my opinion. I just think that was kind of a fantasy booking idea there. I'll talk about Grayson Waller on Sunday, because I had figured I did a little some digging, some scoops of my own there, that I was able to pull out. Found a little scoop on Grayson Waller, but he's going to be possibly doing maybe at SummerSlam, but he might be doing at WrestleMania next year. Who knows? But yeah, but that was Monday Night Raw. Like I said, Monday Night Raw was fine. It progressed quite a few things here. It progressed the stuff with the Judgment Day, what they're going to do there, and progressed something with Cody Rhodes. By the way, we found out, speaking of Cody Rhodes, we found out the real reason why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes. There is none, which was kind of obvious by the moment they did that, because that felt like a Vince McMahon call. Whether people want to tell you that or not, Vince McMahon, I feel like this Cody Brock thing I think this is a Vince McMahon call. It just feels like I know I've heard Fightful and them say it was a Triple H call. I don't fucking believe that at all. Because if it was Cody would be the champion right now. Just saying. But yeah. Tell me what you guys think about Monday Night Raw in the comments down below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Follow the social medias. Make sure you follow Threads now, because that's the new place where the new kids come hang out. I will see you guys back here for AEW Dynamite, because we found out that by Tony Khan on Twitter that both the mystery members of both teams for BCC and the Elite will be revealed. If you saw if you listened to the podcast yesterday, you would have known by now that the Elite's got Kota Ibushi that is the planned partner for them. I don't know who the BCC's got. It could be Chris Hero. That's an idea being thrown around there. CM Punk, who actually, well, it's not going to be CM Punk, but he did pitch himself to be the 5th member of BCC. But we'll talk about that on Wednesday. When Dynamite happens, we might actually see the debut of Kota Ibushi on Wednesday. First of all, let's find out where AEW is at this Wednesday night. Find out. They're going to be in Canada, Saskatchewan on Wednesday night, and then their final stop in Canada is at Calgary for Collision. So that should be a lot of fun. Next week is Blood and Guts. So that should be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll be here for Wednesday night Dynamite, and then I will see you back here for SmackDown, where you got your SmackDown review for the 99th episode, and then Saturday the big 100 the review for Collision, and I may do a watch along to celebrate the 100th episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. Until then, this has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will see you guys back here Wednesday night. Stay cool. Peace out.